You know, they've played some tough opponents. They really should have beat Wyoming in Laramie, which is hard duty to play in Laramie. The elevation, the crowd, all those issues that come into play when you play on the road. But Weber really had them beat up into the last 20 seconds of that football game. So Wyoming's having a very solid year. So, you know, that kind of tells you where they are. You know, they lost to Southern Utah, which I believe Southern Utah right now would be tied with Montana State for undefeated Big Sky. So, you know, obviously Southern Utah, and having beat a Division I opponent in Las Vegas, very formidable opponent. So I don't believe our players will take Weber lightly. You know, they were the one team that last season, I would say, pushed us around a little bit on both sides of the football. You know, going down to Ogden, we weren't 100%. We had some injuries, some key injuries, but, you know, they probably did too. So, you know, with that said, you know, I don't believe our players will take them lightly at all. You know, I think we know where we stand. We know what's at stake. And, you know, flipping back to NAU, that was a tremendous win. Again, anytime you can win on the road, that's huge. And they showed they were a very athletic team that first play of the football game. You know, they got a little space, and they went a long ways with that first touchdown. And we did get behind, and, you know, the expression is they did hit us in the face, and we came back and did a nice job getting back into that football game and playing a really good second half. Well, the thing that he does well is he really engineers their offense well, and they do a multiple of things. They run the zone read as we do, but they also have two outstanding tight ends that can really take some pressure off him in the protection area. They have two outstanding fullbacks that, again, can be your pass blockers or your short yardage ball carriers. They also put those players out in the flat, so if you cover their wide receivers deep, they're going to throw it down into the flat. And you know, his passing percentage, you know, is usually pretty high because of what he does and where he throws the football. And actually, a former Grizzly coach, Tommy Lee, you know, knows him very well and his family over in Hawaii, and he was very high on him last season. As when we talked to Coach Lee about some of their personnel. Coach Lee was actually at Weber State for a couple months. Something came up and he had to leave, but anyway, he's kind of lets us know a little bit about some personnel, and he is really high on Hoke. I mean, he thinks he's could be playing at the University of Hawaii or even a higher level. Well, you know, you don't have to hear about the O-line. All you have to do is turn on the video, and they do make a statement. They are big, strong. You know, they don't have super height, but they are big, strong, physical blockers. And then when you add a large tight end and a large fullback to that mix, you know, very challenging for our defensive front. They run in their 21 personnel, tight end and a fullback. I would say they're close to 40 to 50% of some type of two-back system. Now, the thing that Weber brings also is really a stable of tailbacks. Because if you sit and study one tailback, you know, all of a sudden another guy comes in and another guy comes in. The Sacramento State game, where they just destroyed Sacramento State, they had four tailbacks that, I mean, they had to have close to 70, 80 yards each. It was kind of like next. And the problem you have there is they all are fresh, and they play hard every time. So they're able to rest. They also do that a lot with their defensive line. They're able to rest their players, which means they've recruited very, very well, and they have some tremendous depth. Oh, I'd love to talk about his performance. I thought it was an excellent performance, and we're at the stage of the season where we're asking him to do a few different things, as he did in Portland State when he lined up in the slot and actually ran the reverse for the touchdown against the Vikings. We're doing a little bit more with Jordan, those types of things, and hopefully we can get him even a little more involved in our special teams, you know, possibly as a returner or some of those areas, because as the season wears on, you know, there's always some nagging injuries and you need some depth. But we're excited. We think again, he's got a very bright future, and hopefully it starts again on Saturday. Well, you know, every once in a while there's a thing called luck, and I don't know if we've had a whole bunch of it in the last 2 seasons, but we'll definitely take that. I think sometimes you prepare so well that you get a little lucky sometimes, but that will definitely be a thank you card to Coach Sowers or Christmas card time, because you know I know he's very frustrated because he can't explain it either. You know, he has a great kicker, kicks it out every single time except when it really needed to happen, and fortunate for the Grizz. Yeah, as far as their defense, Fritz, it's a little bit like Portland State in the fact that they, out on the corners, they love to play man coverage, and they will try to lock your receivers down. Now the difference is they'll do a bracket coverage in a 2-by-2 formation, which means 2 receivers on both sides. They'll bracket, which is basically a double coverage of the inside slots. That means your wide receivers have to have a tremendous game, and that's where they lock up their corners. They're very, very confident in their corners, and the corners are confident in themselves. So, you know, our receivers have to know that they're going to be a big part of that battle on Saturday. Then if you go in a 3-by-1 formation, they'll actually bracket the single side receiver, which would either be Mutra or Jabin. So that's how they're going to try to lock down when we're in a 3-by-1 formation. Number 46, their defensive end, Pelcher. He is moved from D-tackle last year. He's lost some weight. He's slimmed down a little bit. But he is a lot like Nash from Sac State. He has a tremendous motor. He has the best get-off watching that Wyoming game. He's the first guy off the line of scrimmage each and every play, irregardless if you're watching Wyoming or Weber State. He has a great get-off. Going to be a major challenge for our tackles. So he's going to bring some headaches that way off the pass rush end of it. And their linebackers are big, strong, physical players. And like I said, they pushed us around a little bit last year. Their front 7. Oh yeah, we'll definitely utilize that. I think like Waldo and I both said that you know, on the physical part of that game, they probably won the battle, more physical than we were last season. And you know, that I think that upsets us. It should, because I think you can say all you want about the frills and the big plays and all that, but football comes down to, you know, who's the most physical person between you and another opponent, and we have to go into the game with that. You have to, like Jabin said, our 111th, you know, you have to beat that person each and every play, and that where it comes down to watching video, what that person does well, and who's going to be more physical on that particular play, and that's extremely important, you know, in the defensive front 7 to establish that. And you know, that first play against Northern Arizona, I'll tell you, that was a great pass pattern that was drawn up and executed, and in a certain coverage. And Northern Arizona's coaches did a great job of, you know, of studying what we do in that certain coverage and took advantage of it. And in fact, whoever sees that route is going to copy that route. They are, because it's such a good route. But really getting back to you know, the question, I think it comes down to being physical and utilizing all the negatives of last year's game and putting them as positives and motivating factors. Well, you do, and then our start against NAU, you know, it is a roller coaster, and you know, we don't get to watch much the NFL, but you know, I guess the Ravens had a horrible start and couldn't get anything going, and you know, it happens. It happens everywhere to everybody, and I think that's a focus again back to what you have to do against that one opponent that you're going against. And you know, if you can have your way with him early in the game, it's just going to be such, you know, of an advantage as the game proceeds. So that's part of getting an early start, and the focus of having no assignment errors. You know, once you have an assignment errors are brutal because they can lead to penalties and turnovers more than anything else in the game of football. So those are the things that are important to know what you're coached to do.
We got pushed around. I'd definitely say as a front 4, I know for sure, and as a defense, we felt like we got pushed around. And I mean, there were some extenuating circumstances where we we were all, there was a lot of injuries. A lot of guys were playing hurt and banged up, but that's football. There's no excuse for getting pushed around. So, I think that we're really looking forward to the opportunity to go out and show the type of defense we are, and go out and show that last year wasn't the type of defense we are. I mean, he was a load. He's a big physical back. He was tough to take down, and yeah, with their stable running backs, it's going to be a challenge. But I like what I've been seeing out of our defense. We didn't tackle particularly well against NAU, and that's a focus this week and something we're going to get back to. From the start of practice today, it's going to be a focus of ours, and I feel like if we tackle and finish plays when we get the chance to make them, that we should be in a good position to win. It's definitely a little bit of both, I'd say. They see what you're doing, and they're obviously good coaches and players on all the other teams. They're game planning for you all week, and they see some of your tendencies, and they go out and attack those and exploit those. And it's if you don't correct them, that's on us. But I feel like we do a good job as players and our coaches. We find out what the problem is, we fix it, and then as players we go out and execute it, and we take our coaching pretty well. So I'd say it's more of just a little bit of both. I don't think we come out – we don't try to come out slow. I think we all come out pretty pumped up, but it's just adapting to the game. I think that, towards the end of the game, I think they were getting a little wore down, but we were up playing up 7,000 feet, so it wasn't like we were exactly fresh. But I think it's something that we pride ourselves on, is trying to wear out our opponents. Whether we're on the field for 50 plays or 100 plays, both sides of the ball, I think we try to wear out the opponent, and that's a goal of ours, to win the fourth quarter.
There was just a strong sense of urgency on my part. I really desired to be back on the field, just because I'm always that person to be injured in my career. And my coach used to make sure keeping practice light, and just make sure I was in that training room 3-4 times a day, just trying to get my ankle stronger and that swelling down. And honestly, I think it was like around Thursday, and I was like really asking myself, like, Jabin, are you ready to play? And just by faith, I just made myself come back regardless, to help out my team. And Friday, we did some more rehabbing even at the hotel. Right when Saturday hit, just one of them days. It's like you gotta, I don't want to say, nut up, but you gotta like pull it from your heart. You gotta pull it from your heart, really though. When you see those guys out there, you see your other teammates, you want to be a part of it. It's something special that we're doing. So, I just taped up that ankle. Gave my little prayer and went out and did my thing. So, oh yeah, we had tremendous blocking. I see my quarterback go out there, and then I see my tight end trying to catch up. But he's selling off the edge. And even when I looked at the film one more time, I just see guys looking out for one another and doing their 111th. That's just a beautiful thing to see. Yeah, no doubt. And that's going to start today when we go to practice. It's all about execution. And paying attention. Not in the middle of the week, but as we have film early this morning at 7 a.m. This is in our case a playoff game. With Weber State, last year, I don't even want to get into it, but we really have their number. So we definitely have something to prove. That starts in practice, like I said, and just being perfect at what we do. And that's being fast tempo, and just paying attention to detail and studying film. Foremost, just studying them and knowing them a little better than they know us. Honestly, that's a hard question, but it's a little bit of both. It's making adjustments as well, because they game plan us just like we game plan them. And the slow start, that it definitely plays a big role, because you want to go right for the jugular, like from the get-go, and that's either coming out with some points, and the way we've been doing it, it's either been a punt or something like that. We're just looking to improve on that, and getting out to a fast start, definitely helps you out, in that third, fourth quarter, having those points that you had gotten, earlier. So.